Welcome back. In Mthatha, the Nelson Mandela Museum is gearing up for its fifth annual Human Rights Essay Competition. Now, this prestigious event invites grade 10 as well as 11 learners from across the country to explore as well as reflect on human rights as outlined in South Africa's Bill of Rights. The competition aims to engage young minds in understanding the importance of human rights as well as their role in shaping a just as well as equal society. Nelson Mandela Museum CEO Ntlahla Dalindyebo joins us now to further unpack this great initiative. Ntlahla, it's great having you with us on the show. Do tell us all about this exciting initiative. What is the aim as well as the objective for this year in particular?
Thank you so much for hosting me, and thank you to the viewers at home. As we know that March marks a National Historical Month where people from all over the world or walks of life commemorate and honor those who fought against apartheid laws. We felt as the Nelson Mandela Museum that we should host this type of an event so that we can invite learners all over the country to participate and express their knowledge in the issues that talk to human rights. This is the fifth program that we are running, one of our flagship programs within the Nelson Mandela Museum, which we host it at Qunu, where Mthatha grew up. One of the reasons or the objectives of this essay is to promote equality, is to promote human dignity, and people or learners to understand the human rights and how best can they treat it when they are infringed, and they should know what is human rights all about, which is one that is enshrined within our Constitution of South Africa. This program has been running, as I've already indicated, and we have invited students or learners in 9 provinces, which they submitted their essays, and that those essays were then shortlisted to 10 essays, which was today. We are hosting those top 10 learners who submitted their essay as a part of the competition.
Right, so Ntlahla, you're already almost towards the final stages of this initiative, but let's backtrack a little bit, right, and talk about the successes rather of this initial annual initiative. Now, it is currently in its 5th year. So, what have those past participants actually achieved? I mean, we know the Eastern Cape currently is still largely underdeveloped and plagued by many of the country's social ills, especially pertaining to the quality of education, as almost is synonymous, in fact, with most of rural areas as well as our townships across the country.
Yes, of course. You are right when you say the Eastern Cape has got so much challenges, especially the social ills and the disadvantaged backgrounds. We are very proud to announce that within this competition, top two learners are from the Eastern Cape, and they were really expressing themselves very well with the quality and the content that they were are really presenting today. It is really an understanding that the Eastern Cape is very underprivileged. It's very much in a remote area. So we are trying by all means necessary that we should tap into the rural schools and invite them in our different programs that are educational related. And of course, with this one, we have been inviting these provinces, and the Eastern Cape is always forming part of the competition. And they sometimes win, even though they won't reach up to the top 3 numbers. It's a win. The fact that you have submitted your essays have been shortlisted and adjudicated, and you form part of the oral essay. There are success stories within this human rights competition because these learners become the ambassadors of the Nelson Mandela Museum, and they form part of the programs that are educational related. As we will be hosting now one of our programs, we have a partnership with German. The Germans will be in. We are hosting German Germans in this April. One of the learners who have participated and won number 1 and number 2 and number 3 will be participating and forming part of this program that we will be hosting here in Kunu at the Youth and Heritage Center. We also do or form part and go along with them through excursions, and they also experience the lives that our people or our fathers or our parents encountered during the apartheid era. They will visit all the historical sites like the Sharpeville massacre, the historical hill, the constitutional hill, and all these significant or historical sites around South Africa. So it is then important that we should continue to host this type of programs and request other stakeholders to form part of us when we are hosting the events. And I must mention that the Department of Education is part of us, and they were part of the educators, or rather the adjudicators, that were within the process of shortlisting more than 700 essays that were submitted by learners all over the country, where 6 provinces were selected with their essays that participated today.
So now let's go back to your final stages, where you earlier mentioned to me that you are currently dealing with your top 10 of the 700 that were shortlisted. So tell us, Ntlahla, what happens next for these 10 that you've selected?
Today was a competition. From the top 10, we had this competition that was taking place here today on the 14th of March. We had the same adjudicators that were selecting the top 10 essays, and the competition took place where the selection was between the 2 provinces. The Eastern Cape, 2 learners from the Eastern Cape won number 1 and number 2, and the third one was the Northern Cape. From there, it is where we believe, as the ambassadors now, they will represent the Nelson Mandela Museum in all our events, especially those strategic events and those that are educational learning engagements. These learners were hosted at the Kunu, and they will be living home, but going home, back home, they will then discuss with the schools, and we will be forming part with the schools during our programs, school road shows, and they will be also being active in advocating the human rights and also advocating the mandate of the Nelson Mandela Museum in terms of education.
That's great news, Ntlahla. Thank you so much for sharing them with us this afternoon. That is Ntlahla Dalindyebo, the Nelson Mandela Museum CEO, on their, of course, annual human rights essay competition, which we understand, of course, is currently taking place today.